Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, I'm going to be showcasing an improbable 9-1 run up to 3169 ELO in the Championship Series Cup with Grafaiai. Now, Grafaiai is a Pokemon that most people probably don't even know is in the game. It's a Poison Normal type with Mud Slap, Poison Fang, and Sludge Bomb as the moveset. Grafaiai has almost nothing going for it, so why is it on my team? Well, it's one of the only Pokemon that can beat both Beedrill and Tyranitar in the 2-Shield. Now, Grafaiai is never a Pokemon you should use if you care about your ELO, but somehow, against all odds, I was able to pull off this run. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, and we're off to a strong start in game number 1, leading Grafaiai into Drapion. My opponent is going to be safe switching into Licky, and unfortunately, they get the Body Slam before I get the Poison Fang. Body Slam lands, and we already see how glassy Grafaiai is. That Body Slam hits for monster damage, but I return fire with the Poison Fang, and then switch in my own Licky. Initially, I was testing a backline with Spiritomb and Shadow Beedrill, but that backline just didn't have enough bulk to support Grafaiai. So I ended up switching to Licky and Shadow Milotic, and oh my goodness, Shadow Milotic was an absolute menace. My opponent makes a very nice catch, taking advantage of the desync of the switch timers, saving the Licky, and catching the Body Slam onto Kingdra. But I'm able to grab a shield with a second Body Slam and then go for a swift catch onto Shadow Milotic. Shadow Milotic, these Dragon Tails are absolutely adding up. This poor Kingdra getting absolutely deleted. My Milotic is starting to get pretty low, so I will put up the shield and attempt to go for a farm down. But Kingdra is able to save itself at the last second. Back in comes Licky. Body Slam lands, but Shadow Milotic hangs on, refusing to get KO'd, and leaves with the parting gift of Aqua Tail, which my opponent will shield. I'm going to bring back in my Licky. I stored energy for later, and I'm going to use it now. Body Slam lands, not going to be enough to take the knockout, but will set up a rollout farm down, and I still have Grafaiai ready to go for the Drapion. In comes Drapion taking some pretty substantial damage. Grafaiai has to put up the shield as Aqua Tail would hit way too hard. I have to watch for the catch, so I end up waiting the turn and CMP tying Sludge Bomb to their Aqua Tail. Sludge Bomb is resisted, but will take the knockout. Back in comes Kingdra. Kingdra gets farmed down, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Grafaiai into Furret. This is a pretty rough lead for Grafaiai. I'm just going to look to bank some energy and then safe switch my Milotic. Milotic is so incredibly neutral in this meta, there's not really a lot that wants to answer it. My opponent fires off a Brick Break, so they apply a debuff, and then they send out Licky. Now that I'm debuffed, this matchup is going to be pretty poor, so I may as well get a debuff back with Wrap. This should soften up the Licky and hopefully make it so that I'll actually be able to get through all of its HP. They Body Slam, and look at Shadow Milotic refusing to get KO'd game after game. We get another 1 HP survive, and Aqua Tail gets my opponent very low. Now I can go for a monster farm down with my Licky. I don't really care about tanking this Earthquake. What I want is the energy. Now I have a ton of energy on Grafaiai and on Licky. My opponent, of course, still does have the Furret. They bring it in here. Brick Break, I know I can survive, but will put me pretty low, so I kind of have to shield something. I'm expecting they're going to look to match shield, so I am going to go for a Body Slam bait. Body Slam is going to be shielded, and now I can go for the Earthquake. Hoping that Earthquake will put them into 1 Mud Slap farm down range. Earthquake lands, there's the switch into Grafaiai, but now it's their turn to 1 HP survive. Furret hangs on, Brick Break forces the shield, and in the back is the perfect Pokemon for me to see. It's Grimmsnarl. Grimmsnarl is so attack weighted. Look at the damage. Grafaiai absolutely melting through the Grimmsnarl. Grimmsnarl forced to fire off the last second power-up punch, KOing Grafaiai, but Licky gets the rollout down. All they have left is 1 HP on Furret, and they will concede the match. Our next opponent is a fellow content creator, Jonkus, and we pick up a pretty awkward lead, leading Grafaiai into Grimmsnarl. Even though Grafaiai is a poison into a fairy type, Grimmsnarl just straight up wins the 2s here by fully farming down. He's going to be full sending Foul Play. I return fire with the Poison Fang, and I'm worried that I'm going to get farmed down, so I safe switch into Licky as he sends out Seaking. Now Seaking, I'm going to get some damage on it before I get debuffed, so I fire off Body Slam. Body Slam is going to be no shielded, and this cannot be a Mega Horn, so I'm more than happy to let this go. Icy Wind, not going to do a ton of damage to Licky. I'm going to throw the Earthquake on alignment because this will allow me to outpace if he's on Mega Horn, but it appears he's not. Instead, it's a CMP tie as he goes for the Drill Run. I'm going to look to pivot into Milotic, but he has incentive to pivot out as well. So once again, it's a simultaneous switch, Shadow Milotic into Grimmsnarl. Unfortunately, my Dragon Tails are double resisted here. I can't really do any damage. Milotic makes the Aqua Tail. The pacing on Milotic is just absolutely absurd. Aqua Tail will be shielded. Grimmsnarl trying to race to the foul play, but it does not get there. It turns out Grimmsnarl is 6'6", 6'5", which means Milotic outpaces and takes the knockout. In the back is a Bubble Shadow Politoed, and I was not expecting to see that in the back. That is not a Pokemon I even knew was allowed in this meta. Wrap lands for big damage. We farm up. We get the catch onto Licky, and that is a massive, massive play. I'm very close to a move on Milotic. So when I bring back in the Milotic, he's going to have to throw the Weather Ball or risk getting KO'd by the Aqua Tail. The Weather Ball will take the knockout, and now I can look to try and farm down with Grafaiai. In comes Grafaiai. There's a catch attempt, but I did not have the charge attack yet. Back in comes the Politoed, and Grafaiai stands strong. Politoed KO'd by the Poison Fang, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, picking up a tough lead, Grafaiai into Shadow Frostlass. A safe switch into Milotic, and my opponent is going to respond with Licky. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure what is the best way to play out this matchup. I threw a wrap at Licky in a previous game, and this game I'm just going straight for the Aqua Tails. As the Shadow Milotic, you come pretty close to two-shotting with the Aqua Tails. They go for the Body Slam. I farm up, and it looks like that was a CMP tie. Aqua Tail not going to be enough to take the knockout, but will be putting my opponent very, very low. I'm thinking about it, and I decide just to let it go. Body Slam lands, I get aggressive into Grafaiai, and back in comes the Shadow Frostlass. Even though my Mud Slaps do add up quite a lot here, unfortunately, my charge moves are entirely resisted. I farm up, and now I have to decide. Do I go for the Poison Fang bait? Do I full send the Sludge Bomb? I go for the Poison Fang bait, and it ends up paying off. Now, I'm just going to go for a second Poison Fang. I'm throwing on alignment. I just need the damage. Poison Fang lands. It takes the knockout, and they reveal their final Pokemon to be Miltank. Miltank, oh, what a catch. They catch the Poison Fang that was aimed at the Miltank onto Licky, and suddenly, I might be at risk of losing this game. That was a really nice catch from my opponent. They needed it to have a chance. Miltank gonna be spamming out Body Slams. Licky will be spamming out Body Slams as well. The thing that I have going for me, however, is I still have the Shadow Milotic. I pivoted out when it was low. Milotic should be one off of an Aqua Tail. It's very, very close to a move. Miltank keeps spamming out Body Slams. This can only be a Body Slam, and by not building up to threaten a Gyro Ball or an Ice Beam, I just never have to respect it. I farm up to the Earthquake, go for the Body Slam. My opponent, are they going to be calling it back? No, they put up the shield. They're going to be under tapping. I shield up Licky, and this game will come down to the wire. Licky, Body Slam is not going to take the knockout, but will just get them entirely too low. Body Slam lands. There's the switch into Milotic. We survived the rollout on very low HP, and that's going to be a win. Beautiful catch by my opponent in the end game, but Shadow Milotic, another one of its signature 1 HP survives to take the win. Picking up a very bad lead in the next match, Grafaiai into Spidops. Now, Spidops is an absolute nightmare for Grafaiai to deal with. I end up safe switching into Milotic, and they make a very nice catch and sneak onto Dunsparce. Dunsparce is another one of these bulky rollout users, but the difference for Dunsparce is they don't get same type attack bonus on any of their charge moves. And that's kind of awkward for Dunsparce, because even though Drill Run is a very efficient charge attack, that's just not going to KO Milotic. Milotic just keeps holding on game after game after game. We win switch advantage, and that is massive, because now I get to bring Licky into the Spidops. Spidops going to be firing off a lunge, but that's not going to be a problem whatsoever. My opponent actually goes for the Rock Tomb. It does hit slightly harder. In the back is Dragalge, and this game is over. I can send in Grafaiai. They build up to the Outrage, but they only have to go for an Aqua Tail. The good news for me, however, is that I'm just never going to throw now. I'm just going to fully commit to the Mud Slap down and Poison Fang everything. I may be down 2 shields to 0, but it's just simply not going to matter. Back in comes the Spidops, and I'm going to get Poison Fang after Poison Fang after Poison Fang into this poor Spidops. Spidops shields the first, but now they're debuffed. They have to shield the second. These rollouts are about to absolutely delete them in a moment. They don't throw. They let me get to a third Poison Fang. Let's see this damage. Spidops now very low. I switch into Licky as they predict the switch in, but the damage is done. It turns out they're actually on X-Scissor Rock Tomb. That's the first time I've seen that moveset in this cup, but the win streak continues. Unfortunately, we meet a Mud Slapper from the opponent in the next match, leading into Crocodile. I safe switch my Lodic. My opponent is going to answer with Licky, and I'm in a lot of trouble. Krookodile is a huge core breaker for this team. It destroys Grafaiai, which unfortunately does have a weakness to Mud Slap, and it's going to completely destroy Licky. My Lodic, it's absolutely shredded by a Shadow Ball. I will make a last second Aqua Tail, but unfortunately, it's just not enough to knock out. And from here, I'm just going to get fully swept by this Krookodile. I send in Grafaiai because at the very least, I'm a normal type. My opponent cannot go for the Shadow Ball. I get ahead on energy with Licky. They reveal their final Pokemon on the back is Kingdra, and there's just no way to win this game. My opponent can always no-shield the Kingdra, two-shield the Krookodile, and I have no win con, so I'm not going to waste anyone's time, and I will resign the match. Unfortunately, the Spidops lead has returned in the next match, so once again, I'm safe switching into my Lodic. My Lodic firing off Aqua Tail, no catch this time, and Shadow Aqua Tail does do quite a lot of damage to this Spidops. Spidops, unfortunately, has farmed me into a range where I think Lunge will actually knock me out, so I will put up the shield. To my surprise, Spidops is not pivoting out, and that means I get back-to-back Aqua Tails. They're going to have to double shield, otherwise, I just take the knockout and win switch advantage. They bring in Licky, I pivot my own, they send in a Shadow Drapion, and Grafaiai actually has quite a bit of play in this endgame. I farm up to the Earthquake, bait with the Body Slam, force a shield from my opponent, and they're going to look to over-farm a ton of energy. They are just shy of the back-to-back crunches, which means I'm going to have to throw on alignment here, otherwise I will get outpaced. Now this does threaten an Earthquake. I'm of course going for the Body Slam, I do get the shield, my opponent over-farms, and they let me get the Body Slam. This potentially sets up a combo with the Aqua Tail. I'm going to predict that they predict it, so I don't go for the combo, but they just stay on the field. That's really not great. Aqua Tail is going to take the knockout. I do have energy on my Lodic still, but I wasn't really able to snipe with it, and that's going to be a bit of a problem. Crunch lands, that's huge damage, in comes Licky, and it's all up to Grafaiai. Grafaiai does get the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb is going to do some pretty significant damage onto Licky. Sludge Bomb lands, I do get the combo, and I'm hoping this Aqua Tail will KO. Aqua Tail is going to land, Licky hangs on, and it appears they just cannot win this game, and they will resign the match. We get a nice lead in the next match, leading Grafaiai into Shadow Beedrill. This is one of the leads we are hunting for. Now, Grafaiai is unfortunately walled here, but at the very least, I am resisting everything they can throw back. They fire off X-Scissor, and as you can see from Grafaiai's stat product, resisting X-Scissor still means I take devastating damage. Sludge Bomb into the Beedrill is going to land. There's a simultaneous safe switch, Licky into Licky. So my opponent, importantly, does not have any energy on the Beedrill, but they were able to save it on very low HP. We'll have to be mindful and make sure that they do not get a catch later on. I fire off the Earthquake, they put up the shield, but I really don't want to shield my Licky. If at all possible, I would love to save shields for my Lodic, as my Lodic has consistently been so incredibly strong for me. Earthquake is going to land, this time actually able to get some damage onto the Licky. They go for yet another Body Slam, and I'm just going to continue to stay on the field. They're going to need to Earthquake here. Body Slam just simply will not take the knockout. They do full send the Earthquake, and now it's my Lodic time. My Lodic farming up. There's the catch attempt. I was watching for it, and we do not let it happen. By failing the catch, whatever they bring in is now going to be switch locked for quite some time. It's a Spiritomb, and this is absolutely perfect. I'm ahead so much energy on my Lodic. I'm going to be able to spam out Aqua Tail after Aqua Tail after Aqua Tail. So Aqua Tail number 2 is going to crash into the Spiritomb. They should be one off the move. So I try for the catch onto Grafaiai, but unfortunately my catch attempt is unsuccessful. By failing my catch, have I now given them an opportunity to get back into this game? Rock Tomb is going to be shielded. I throw one in the move. They do not get the catch, and that means that I have eliminated Spiritomb from the game. Spiritomb gets KO'd. Back in comes Licky, but Licky just can't get the energy that it needs. Shadow My Lodic's pacing is just unmatched. Down goes Licky, and we clutch another win. Hopping into the final match, one final time, we are leading Grafaiai into Spidops. This matchup, not a fun one. I'm going to do what I do every time, which is safe switch into my Lodic, and after 4 Dragon Tails, fire off the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail does get them low. I know that I do survive the lunge here, so I'm going to be no shielding. Lunge is going to land. I'm expecting to switch out. There it is. In comes Dunsparce. And since I'm debuffed, I may as well debuff them back and go for the wrap. This will set up a huge farm down for the Dunsparce, but now I can send in Licky. Licky is more than happy to absorb multiple drill runs and just continue to farm them into a range where I will be able to take a knockout. This energy head start would absolutely destroy the Grafaiai, so I'm very happy that I have Licky to absorb this damage. Drill Run is going to land, I farm up to the max, and what a catch from my opponent. They catch the Earthquake back onto the Spidops, where it is going to be resisted. However, that still did quite a bit of damage, and this is going to give me a 4 rollout farm down, getting almost all of my energy back. So a nice catch from my opponent, but now my Licky is absolutely loaded. They have Dragalge as their final Pokemon, and Grafaiai is about to feast. Earthquake gets the shield, in comes Grafaiai. Grafaiai getting the Mud Slap through as they fire off Aqua Tail. Even just an Aqua Tail would hit for so much damage on Grafaiai. Grafaiai gonna look for that full farm. I've taken enough Dragon Tail damage to where an Aqua Tail would put me deep into the red and potentially let me get farmed down. Back in comes the Dunsparce. I have the back-to-back Poison Fangs here. I'm hoping they respect the Sludge Bomb, and they do. Now I get to Poison Fang on the CMP tie. This is gonna be a very close game. Poison Fang does not knock out, but will this set up the farm down for Licky? I need Licky to exit with a charge attack loaded for that Dragalge. It's gonna be close. Can I survive? I do, but I don't have the Earthquake. It all comes down to this. Dragalge still in the yellow. Will it get knocked out? Body Slam takes the KO, and that is a good game. If you had told me yesterday that I was going to be trying out Grafaiai in the Championship Series Cup and asked me to guess what my record would have been with Grafaiai, I probably would have guessed something along the lines of 8-17, where I just got completely destroyed. So the fact that I ended up going super positive with Grafaiai was just an absolute shock to the system. I do want to reiterate that Grafaiai, it's definitely not a Pokemon that you should use if you care about your elo. There are just better, stronger meta options. But we went really spicy today. I believe Grafaiai is ranked just inside the top 100 on PvPoke for this cup, and it's not even ranked with Mud Slap. It's actually ranked with Poison Jab. But considering Pokemon like Drapion and Dragalge are still quite popular, I think Mud Slap does make sense. This is a meta that doesn't really have a Mud Slap presence outside of the one game that I did lose, which was to Elite and his Crocodile. When there's not really a strong ground presence in a meta, teams don't have to respect it. And I feel like there were a few times when we were able to just Mud Slap down poison types that we're probably not expecting to see any kind of Mud Slapper. So, in conclusion, Grafaiai, somehow against all odds, was very, very fun today. I ended up doing a duo stream, and both Shira and myself ended up going very, very positive with Grafaiai, which in my eyes never should have happened, probably will never happen again, but hey. Anytime you're able to run something pretty off the wall and still go positive is a massive win in my book, even if it's not a Pokemon that I would recommend that others try. Grafaiai was way more fun than expected. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, please do support the channel by leaving a like on the video. It helps a ton. And subscribe to the channel if you have not. And an extra special thank you, as always, to our channel members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is genuinely so appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.